Okay, now we're in. Let's start over. Hi everyone. My name is Camilo Villegas. I'm super glad that you are here. Today we're going to go over a very cool workshop. It's for beginners. We will be covering something that is called an API. So we will be building an API with Python. This project is not super short. It has a lot of things going on, but let's try to keep focused and let's try to break down every single step, right, little by little, so we can understand everything. My main goal here is that you guys understand how an API works and also how to build an API rather than knowing every single line of code that you have to write. Okay, some of you might follow along. That means that you guys are coding as I do it, right? But for others, it's just a matter of sitting down, relaxing, and just hearing me talk and watching the workshop going on. All right. Again, the main goal for me, and I hope for you guys too, is that the idea of an API, of what's an API, sticks with you. All right. If you can get that with you after this workshop, then the work is done. Okay. The code can be written later, but if you understand the concept, that's everything. And that's the most important stuff. Okay. So let me share my screen because I got a presentation for you guys. So I think it's this one. Yes. All right. Oh, hi Arnold. How are you? I yeah. Hi. I think Arnold was in the past workshop. I don't know why, but I think I remember him. Okay. So this is the presentation for today. It consists in almost 20 slides. Oh no, that's a lot of slides, Camilo. It's boring. No, it's not boring. Trust me. We'll go slide by slide and everything will make a lot of sense. So the first thing that I will do is that I will share it with you. Please save this link somewhere else. If you have uh, like another monitor, you can open it if you want. But if not, just try to save it and just focus on the screen while I keep showcasing the workshop. Okay, so the name for this workshop is Let's Build a Family Tree Static API with Flask. So a lot of scary names, I know, but we will get to it. So this is me, Camilo Villegas. Here you can see my LinkedIn account. This photo is very old. It's like from 2018. I used to have glasses. Now I don't. I got surgery. So if you want to talk with me, you can connect. You can write to me anything you want, from advice to memes, whatever you need. I'm there. Okay. So you can connect with me if you want. So that's it for this slide. Let's move on. So some considerations before we start. There is a lot to cover, so we'll go a little bit fast. Okay, not super fast like lightning speed, no. But yes, I can go in depth into every single thing because programming is huge, right? So we'll go a little bit fast. But please don't get frustrated. Hi Jesus, how are you, man? Welcome to the workshop. So don't get frustrated. If you are confused, the workshop will be recorded as we are doing it right now. Okay. So this workshop will be uploaded to YouTube, and then you can rewatch it if you want. Now, if you're not talking, please mute your mic. If you are doing something on the background, please turn off your camera. And if you want to say something, just click on this hand right here, on this little hand icon, like this, right? That will get a notification, and I will give you the word so you can speak. Also, yeah, perfect. Thank you, Jay. So use the chat wisely. That means no spam, no links, no hate. Sign colored as underlined text. So in this presentation, whatever you see as sign colored text, that means a link. Here, I just opened the 4Geeks landing page. And of course, be nice, ask questions, have fun. So let's continue. What's the agenda for today? I like to divide these workshops into first some theory, some explanation on what's going to happen, and then we get into the actual code. All right, these workshops tend to last almost like 2 hours at max. This one can be a little bit shorter. Let's see what happens. All right. So first, because I said at the beginning it is for total beginners, we're going to start with a brief introduction of what's GitHub, what's Python, what's Flask, and what is pipm. And when I mean short introduction, I mean short introduction. You will see that some of the slides are covered in less than 2 minutes. Okay. What's an API and how does it work? This is the second slide. So, sorry, the second topic for the agenda. Then setting up our project in code spaces and Thunder clients. This is what we're going to do on the third step. Then we're going to talk about what are HTTP methods. This is very important. If you get this right, then everything will make a lot of sense. So I will stop there a little bit and try to explain to you the best way I can about these HTTP methods. Then how the front end, the back end communicate. Now I have this point on bold because this is the most crucial and important topic of the agenda for today. Understanding how the front end and back end communicates with the help of an API, that's the main goal for today. If you get that straight, that's everything you gotta do. Last point is recap and final words. So guys, checkpoint. How does it look? Good? Yes? Thumbs up? Perfect. All right, let's continue. So let's start. Yes, Val, is that an affirmation hand or do you want to say something? Okay. I think it's a positive answer of that. The agenda is okay. Okay. So first, guys, I know that many of you are aware of what's GitHub, but for those that are not aware of what's GitHub, let's just take that GitHub is like a Google Drive for programmers, all right? So when you are making a product, when you're making a software, right? You make great software if you collaborate. Okay, Netflix is not built by just one engineer; it's built by hundreds of engineers, right? So the tool that they use, well, I'm not sure, but I'm sure that they use a tool similar to GitHub or GitHub. Is this one? It's GitHub, right? So this is like a place where all the code is going to be stored. Okay. So as I said, it's Google Drive for programmers. You got to Google Drive your folders, your files. It's the same thing. Just GitHub is it's mainly focused on the programming experience. So for this workshop, if you want to follow along, if you don't want to follow along, and that I mean coding, as I do, then don't pay attention to me. But if you want to code along, then you need a GitHub account. Okay, you can create a GitHub account right here. Uh, of course, it won't show me the right screen because I'm already logged in. But if I go to incognito, you see that this very beautiful login screen. Oh, sorry, this very beautiful sign up screen where you can create your account and start using GitHub. So if you want to code along, or if you're very interested in coding this workshop, then please create a GitHub account. If you already have one, beautiful. You already have done this step. Once your GitHub account is created or you already have one, open the project. So here, I click here and I got my project open. So we are going to use this tab a little bit later. Just try to open it and have it reserved for later. All right. So let's continue here. So that's GitHub. It's like a Google Drive for programmers. That's everything you gotta know. And if you check the actual GitHub content, you will see files and you will see folders. So it's the same thing. Of course, a little bit more like geeky looking. So let's move on. What's Python? This is the programming language that we're going to use today. So I want to ask the audience, guys, have you used Python before? Or have you heard about Python? Yes, I got an R. Yes, perfect. Beautiful. All right. Okay, so most of you are know Python. So it's funny because when you search the Python in Wikipedia, then you get like a super long definition. I just shorten it. And even short, it sounds complex. If you read here, it's a high level interpreted programming language. Its main features are syntax clarity, dynamic typing, and extensibility. That sounds crazy, no? But Python is just a programming language, right? This is a very high level definition, but what a programming language tries to accomplish is that a programming language tries to give a computer instructions. Okay, so a computer is a very stubborn but very, very intelligent machine that it's kind of dumb but super smart at the same time. So programming languages basically give the computer some rules and some steps to follow, right? So Python is one of those programming languages. Okay, if you will, you can make like a comparison with real world languages like Spanish, English, French. So Python is just one of them. It's just one of the languages that are spoken in the world. Now, I always like to talk about this. Now, next question, people. Have you heard or have you used a Stack Overflow? Yes, Jay, no. Okay, people. So what is a Stack Overflow? A Stack Overflow, it's like the Bible, or well, not the Bible, the religious or the religion text, all right, for programmers. Why? This is the place where programmers ask for help. So programming is basically 80% debugging and 20% coding, something like that. So most of the time you will be searching for answers in the internet. And one of the main places you want to search for is here, Stack Overflow. Right? So why I give you this context? Because Stack Overflow runs a survey yearly. And this survey, it's a very important, yeah, it's like a very important source of truth for the programming world, because Stack Overflow interviews thousands of hundreds of developers about their opinion on things. And check this, if we see this most popular technologies, we see Python on third. All right, and if you take HTML and CSS out of this list, because it's a big it's like a big fight in the internet if HTML and CSS are programming language or not. I think CSS is, HTML is not, but if you take that apart, Python is even in the second spot, right? So guys, this is a big reason why to learn Python. Professional developers, if you check here, Python is always in the top. Learning to code, look at this, Python is on top. So I always like to show this because I know that because there are many programming languages, many people don't know where to start. Python is a great place to start. It's always in the top list for everything. So this is a go-to. So that's it. That's it for Python. Let's move on. Flask. Remember GitHub, Python, Flask, and pipemp. So we're just missing two main names here. Flask. All right. So Flask is a library. Flask is basically a bunch of Python code that was written before, and all of that Python code contains a lot of tools that help us to create an API. Basically, Flask is like, look at this bold statement here. It's like having a handy toolkit for building web-based projects. So building an API from scratch, that means from bare Python, it's possible, but you can make faster and better progress if you use a library that already focuses on building APIs like Flask. Flask is lightweight, it's super simple to learn, super simple to use, and it's a go-to for beginner developers. If you check this piece of code here, if we count, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines of code, right? If we miss the spaces, and these 5 lines of code give you this, give you a running API. So simple, right? Very, very simple. And Flask is allowing us to create these APIs out of 5 lines of code. So this is why we use libraries. And in the programming world, it's very common to use libraries for a lot of stuff. So Flask is the library we are going to use today. Flask is managed by Python. So while we write Python code, that's the code that we're going to use to also operate in Flask. So let's move on. Pipemp. This is the most complex name here, but I'll just leave it as Pipemp is like your help home kitchen organizer for Python projects. All right. If you come from a front end background, this is npm. This is your yarn, but for Python. All right. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, this is just like an organizer. All right. So let's think of a kitchen. the place where you store your knives, your spoons, right? So that place, it's like pipamp. This is a place where we organize the packages that we use in our Python project, right? So we can have it in one place, and when we need it, we just take one of them, right? So when I go to the kitchen and I need, I don't know, a spoon to drink some soup or to eat some soup, then I just get the spoon out of it. I use it, I clean it, and then I put it back there, right? That's pipamp. It's like your kitchen organizer. So, guys, a quick recap. We got GitHub, Google Drive for programmers. We got Python. It's a programming language, right? Flask, it's a library to create APIs. And pipemp, it's a helpful package manager, right? Simple. Do you have any questions? Let me know in the chat, or you can raise your hand if you have any questions. Yes, Val. I think your mic is muted.
Right there. Okay. This program, is it like a combination of some of the earlier programs, COBOL, and higher levels? You mentioned a couple of the others that um, C plus and some of those.
Okay. So when you say program, do you mean Python or what specifically?
Well, I'm trying to understand like where Python fits in. It has some of the components. I'm saying, does it have some of the components of like the C plus or COBOL and some of those prior programs that were familiar back in the day, BASIC, all of those?
Mhm. Okay. So that's an excellent question. All right, guys, I don't know if you have noticed, but it's four people here. So let's try to make this workshop personal. I want you guys participating, asking me whatever you have in mind, because this is like a private workshop. So I really like this question. I love it. All right. So something that is hard to understand at the beginning is that all the programming languages are very different. All right.
Okay.
The best example that I can give you is real world languages. All right. If you take French and if you take German, they are super different. Right. But they are used for the same reason. Languages have been created to express ideas. All right. If I come to you and I tell you I'm hungry, that's English. I can say it in Spanish too. Tengo hambre. Right. I can say it in German. I can say it in French, right? The way I say it to you, it's different. The language is different, but the idea is the same, all right?
Right.
So that are programming languages: Python, JavaScript, COBOL,
Mhm.
BASIC, right? All of
Yes.
those are like French, Spanish, German, right? It's just different syntax, different pronunciation, but the main goal is to tell the computer what to do.
Do.
So it
Okay.
doesn't matter what programming language you use. Python is just one of them. All right.
Okay.
So is
Great.
that clear?
Yes, I just, I have some earlier familiarity with some of those and just wanted to know. So good. Okay, it's probably used for different purpose, and I see and hear from everywhere that this is one of the major programming languages utilized now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And one of the main reasons of why Python is so popular, it's because its community has built a lot of libraries to work with Python. And what it means is that we can use Python for web development, for desktop applications, for education, database access, network programming, game development, 3D graphics. All right, some programming languages are not built to withstand this amount of flexibility. Python is. So that's why it's very popular.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so we got that down the road. We got the big names done, checked. Now, what is an API? How does it work? All right. So this is crucial, guys. All right, guys. I tell you, if you understand the kitchen example, you can leave the call. No, 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 don't do it. It was just a joke. But if you understand this example right here, you understand, I will say, 80% of what's an API, if not to say 100%. Okay, so let's read it together. Here it says API receives a request, similar to how a waiter takes an order from a customer to relay to the chef. All right. So I hope that everyone had the opportunity at some point in their life to go to a restaurant. The process to going to a restaurant is very simple. You're hungry, right? So you want food. So you go to a waiter or you go to the cashier, I don't know, and you ask for some food. All right. So you sit down, the waiter comes to you. Hey, what do you want? Look, I want a spaghetti. Okay, I want spaghetti. The waiter goes to the kitchen and tells the chef, a spaghetti order. Then the chef cooks the spaghetti. And once it's done, the waiter will come, grab the spaghetti, and deliver it to you. I think this example is fairly simple to understand. All right? It's the it's the normal common behavior of anyone in any restaurant. So why I use this example to explain what an API is? Because it's the same thing. Just change some names and you got an API. We when we say an API, we're basically creating a waiter. All right? We have a restaurant. That is our whole project. But when we create an API, we are creating a waiter that basically takes requests and gives responses. Now, let's go to a restaurant. The waiter takes an order and delivers a plate. Okay? So, customer, just change it for front end. Our front end talks to the API. Then the API goes to change chef for back end. So, front end talks to the API, requests something to the API. API goes to the back end, right? And once it's done, then the API delivers to the front end. Okay? So it's very simple. When you go to a web page, when you just land on it, then basically your front end is asking to the web page, hey, show me something, right? Show me something. Then the API will go to the backend. It will get all the information that has to be shown, and then it will put it on the front end. Okay? And this is where you see the screen with full of data. So today we are going to create the waiter, not the customer, not the chef, not the front end, not the back end. We're going to create the waiter. We're going to create the API. Okay. So an API basically consists of some logic when the front end, when the customer asks the waiter, asks the API what to do with that request. All right. The waiter in the real life knows, is trained to get a request to go to the kitchen and to ask for that. Right? We are going to train our own waiter today. We are going to have logic to know what to do with the request of the front end. So guys, I want to ask you, is this example clear? Yes. Thumbs up. Fine. Perfect. So guys, it's Christmas time. We're really about to code, so pay attention to all of this. So when you are in the Christmas dinner, you can talk about APIs, and people will say, "Wow, this guy knows a lot," right? And it's just a matter of trying to put very complex topics in real life scenarios, and everything makes a lot of sense. So always, when we're talking about APIs, try to think of this on the kitchen example, right? And then you can get it even more easily. So that's it. We got some fire emojis here. Let's get to work. Start here. So I'm going to open this link. In fact, it's the same that I opened before. Remember that I said to store it for later? So yeah, that this is the tab that we want. I'm going to close this Stack Overflow tab and let's read the instructions. So here it says, set up GitHub code spaces. Guys, remember, if you want to code along, you need a GitHub account. So here it says, GitHub code spaces is an online text editor. To start, click on create code spaces on master button. So here we can see that once we click on the code button, we will see a create code spaces on master on green. So we want to do that. A new tab will load and your project will be ready to start working. All right, so let's do that. Let's follow these light steps. So I'm here. I'm in the repository. It's like a folder. All right. And this contains all the files that we're going to use today for this workshop. Okay. Also, if you scroll down, you can see a quick description of what's the project about, and also some installation steps that will follow along in a couple of minutes. So that's it. Now let's do what the slide says. Click on code, code spaces. I'm already there. And then create code space on master. So I'm clicking there. Now this will take from seconds to minutes, depending on your network speed. Also, guys, I think I missed this, but I'm Colombian. I don't know if you can tell by my accent. English is not my first language, so I got a couple things here in Spanish. But don't get confused. Almost 98% of the stuff we're going to do today is in English, so don't worry. Okay, so as you can see, it is still loading. Why do we use this? People that are a little bit more experienced with GitHub will say, "Hey, Camilo, why don't you clone it?" That's an excellent that's an excellent question. The reason why we don't clone it is because when we open a code space, it has all the setup done for us. When we clone it, we need a lot of things in our local machine. We need Python in our local machine. We need pip installed in our local machine. We need pip amp in our local machine. We need a lot of stuff, and that will make us lose a lot of time. So let's just do this, that the setup is already done, right? And we can save time and have more fun. So that's it. When you can tell that it finished loading, because you see everything that is quiet, everything is it stopped moving, right? So it finished loading. Now, what the next steps are is that here we got something called terminal, right? Here you can read it, terminal. All right. The terminal is the place where we will write some commands. Now, this is not actual programming. Okay. We are just installing things. Okay. When you, I don't know, when you download a program and you click next, next, continue, install, we're doing the same thing, but with commands, right? The hardcore programmers do it with commands. So we're going to do it that way. Okay, if you don't have this terminal open, then here in the slides, I set a special slide just for you. And it's that if you are in a Mac, just do Command J. And if you are in a Windows, just do Control backtick. All right. So look, I'm in a Mac. So when I do Command J, I close and open the terminal. Right. Okay, perfect. So here we need to issue these commands right here. Okay. Here we can read the descriptions. Install the project dependencies by running pip install. So let's do that. So this is very straightforward. The first thing we gotta do in this project is just to copy, paste, and enter. So it's pretty simple. Let's do that. So I copy pasted. That's done. So it will give me this output, and then it will wait. Let me give you a little bit of zoom. Perfect. A little bit more. I think that's fine. Okay, so when it finished, it will put the prompt here again. So when I write, I actually get some things there. So next step is pip m shell. This is to get the environment running. So let's do that. Once we're done, we see that it was completed because we see this prefix right here, exercise family static API. Once it is done, we do pip m run start. This means that our API will start running. I will explain this in a couple seconds. And last but not least, we got pipm run test. Now, guys, a disclaimer here, because I developed this workshop before. So the idea is that all the tests pass, right? But I checked the tests, and some of them are outdated. So this pipm run test is not our best source of truth. So what we're going to focus in is that the API works, right? Because also, if we try to make all the tests pass, then this workshop will take 3 hours. So so yes, let's just try to complete the API. Okay, so let's clear this. If you have a lot of things in your screen, you can use the clear command and then enter, and everything will be cleaned up for you. Okay, so we just installed the things that we needed to work with this workshop. Now let's go back here. Let's see what's the next slide. And it says here set up the Thunder client. Okay, so you won't have this on the README. If you check the README, nowhere to be found. Nothing about Thunder client. The reason I'm giving you this slide and the reason I'm telling you to install this is because this will help us down the road. This will help us to communicate with the API. All right, so let's do that. When we click here on extensions, here on the small squares that we have on the left, and we search for Thunder client, the first result is this purple electric spark right here. We click on install, it will install, and once it's done, you will see that that this left bar changed. And now we have this icon right here called Thunder client. Okay, so we won't be using Thunder client for now. But once we code, you'll see how Thunder Client comes to play, right? So the important thing is that we got it installed. So later on, we will see how it works and what is the purpose of Thunder Client. So let's go back here on the files icon. Here we can see the content of the workshop. And let's see the slides. What else is new? Here, what are the HTTP methods? All right, so I am not going to explain this now, but I will going to explain this in a couple minutes once we start coding. Okay? Why? Because we will start going one by one. Today we'll be focusing on get, post, and delete. Right? So this might sound confusing for you, like, hey, what's CRUD? What's all of this? Don't worry, guys. It will all make sense. Okay? But first, we gotta start coding. Okay? Now, let me ask you, do you have any questions so far? Okay, seems that everything is clear. Okay, perfect. Now, let's read the instructions. It says here, create the code needed to implement the API endpoints described further below. The only two files you have to edit are source data structures and source. Oh my God, what did I do? I double clicked. Okay, sorry. And source app.py. So if we check here on the left, we see a source folder, and when we click on it, we see a couple files. Now, the instructions are telling me that the most important ones are app.py and datastructures.py. So I will keep them open. In fact, I will put them side by side so you guys can see what's going on. Here on the left, I got app.py, and here on the right, I got datastructures.py. Now let's go back to the instructions. It says here, datastructures.py contains a class with the rules on how to manage the family members, right? Remember that the workshop is about creating a family tree. And then the app.py says contains the API. Remember, guys, the waiter. Oh my God, I double clicked again. Sorry. Contains the API. It uses the family as data structure. Okay. At the beginning, I know, guys, it will look confusing. But as we keep coding and as we keep going, everything will start to make more sense. So don't get frustrated. It says here, we have prepared a set of automated tests, what I explained about the pip environment tests. Now, let's check this. Okay, so what is important? Guys, we are going to create a family tree, okay? That means that we can get some members, that we can get with just one member, we can delete a member of the family, and we can create a new member of the family. That's what the API is going to do for us today. Okay? If we check here in the endpoints, in the endpoints here, it says get all family members. All right? So we will code that. We got retrieve one member. We will code that too. We got add a new member. We will code that and delete one member. Also here in gray, we have some instructions on what is supposed to be the response of the API and what it should give me, okay? What it should respond to the front end. So those are the four endpoints that we're gonna have. To get, one post, and one delete, Okay, remember, this is all related to the HTTP methods, but I will explain that in a couple of minutes. I see someone new, Frank. Hello. Now we are 5 people here. Woo! Well, 5 students. Sorry, Janet. Uh, Hi, Frank. How are you? Welcome to the workshop. Okay, let's continue. So, data structure, sorry. So, what is a data structure? Try to think of a data structure as a family member of a person. All right, this person will have a first name, a last name that always will be Jackson, an age, and some lucky numbers. All right, so J will be a family member, J Jackson. Age, I don't know your age, but I see that you are like, I don't know, 20, 26, 27. Why are you laughing? Did I hit it? Yes? No? Oh man. No. Ah, okay. But in this example, you are 27. And also lucky numbers. Oh my God, I'm tired of double clicking. Sorry. And lucky numbers. You guys will help me because we'll. Okay, Joel Frank. No problem. Welcome. Welcome to the workshop. So we're going to create, hopefully, all of us in this big Jackson family. And I want the participation of all of you with the lucky numbers. With the age, it's okay. You can lie. But with the lucky numbers, I want some creativity. Okay, here we have a scary stuff that we will be handling step by step, so don't worry. And these are the initial family members. So let's start with this. So when I go to the app.py, I know that there is a lot of code that, oh my God, what's all of this, Camilo? I'm so scared. Don't worry. Let's just try to close everything. Let's just try to forget about many, many stuff. We'll just focus in some lines. I know that there is a lot of code here, but most of it is just configuration stuff. Okay. The same for here. There is a lot of code that, but most of them is configuration. Okay, so if we read the instructions, it says that there are initial family members. It's John Jackson, it's 33 years old, and has some lucky numbers. All right, so it's 7, 13, and 22. So today I'm just gonna switch the rules a little bit, and I'm just gonna create some family members that are you guys. So I will pick 3 of you to start this Jackson family, or what do you want to be our last name? It doesn't have to be Jackson. Any ideas on a cool last name?
Your last name, Camilo.
Villegas? Okay, okay. Welcome to the Villegas family. We are very spontaneous and we like to make jokes. So, hello, hello. Okay, so read me. Let's go back here, and it says that we're going to create the Jacksons. There is already a Jacksons 5. So we're going to create the Villegas family. And the way we're going to do this is that we are going to create 3 initial members. Okay? So how do we do that? If you check here on this file called datastructures.py, we have something called a class family structure. Okay. In fact, it is almost 95% of the whole code, right? Of this file is this class right here. So if you're familiar with Python, I think you know what I'm doing. But if you are not familiar with Python, what I'm doing here is that I'm just creating the initial family members. Okay. So the way I do this is that I use these curly braces. Okay. You'll see that it will start to make a lot of sense once we have to once we have more code written. So let's write first name. Oh, sorry, I missed. Okay, first name. So the first one will be Val. Val will be the first family member. The last name will be exactly what we have here, last name. And age. What age are you, Val? You can lie, no worries.
50.
Okay, 50. Perfect. Lucky numbers. Okay. And what are your lucky numbers?
6, 4,
6, 4,
and what's the other one? 20.
20. Okay, cool. Perfect. In 20. So we are going to do this 3 times. This is the first one, second one, and third one. All right. So I just copy paste. I just copy paste. So look at this. It starts to make a little bit more of sense. What's the first name? It's Bell. What's the last name? I know it says last name here, but the reason it says last name here is because we're going to use this, Villegas. Okay? So automatically, last name will be filled with Villegas right here. Okay? And why is it that way? Because when we create a new class instance, we send this argument called Villegas. Now this argument is then taken here, and then we can have it right here. Okay? So that's for Bell. Let's do Joel Frank. Joel Frank. Okay, Joel Frank, what age are you? 35. All right, 35. What are your lucky numbers? 10, 15, and 33. I like those numbers, mainly 33. Nice. And let's do a last family member. I want to be the next one. All right, let's do it. So Arnold, it's you. What's your age, Arnold? If you're talking, we can't hear you.
I said 22.
22. Nice. You are very young. Lucky numbers. What are your lucky numbers?
2,
Yes.
11,
11,
and 18.
18. Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you for that, Arnold. So these are our initial family members. We got Vel, we got Joe Frank, and with Arnold. Welcome to the family, guys. Welcome to the family. So we just did the initial instruction. That is, let's create the initial members. All right. So here, things to consider. Each family member is wrapped around some curly braces, and all the family members are wrapped around these square brackets. Okay, I won't go super in depth with this, but this is called a dictionary. Oh, sorry, I'm used to coding JavaScript. Sorry, dictionary, and this is a list. Okay, so square brackets are a list, dictionary is square. Sorry, is curly braces, as you can see here. Okay, guys, so any questions? No? Okay, cool, perfect. Right, so this is our initial state. This family has only 3 members, and we want to actually make the API to deliver these members to us. Okay, so the way we're going to do that is to go here to the app.py. So here is where everything will start to click, but everything will start to make a lot of sense. So what happens with this? Here we can see a lot of stuff. Okay, so if we check this, this is Flask. All right, as you can see here at the top, I have Flask with this name thing, and it's stored in this app variable. Okay, if you don't know what a variable is, it's like a container, it's like a storage. So when I put Flask here, whatever Flask contains is then here in app. So now app, it's like an instance of Flask. So now we can use Flask whatever we want. Okay, so Flask is also imported from here, as you can see, but I'll just close this because it's not super relevant. What's relevant is these lines of code right here. Okay, so Let's read them together. It says that when I go to the members endpoint with a get method, I know it's weird, but I will explain that in a couple seconds. So when I go to the members endpoint with the get method, then some things will happen. This code will be triggered. Okay? And what this code says is that we're going to get all the members, but here we got a little hack. And what I mean by hack is that we're creating a new dictionary, then making it a JSON that will explain what a JSON is, and then returning it. Okay, guys, what is JSON? Let's go back to the kitchen example. Okay. In fact, let me move here to the kitchen example. So let's go back to the kitchen example. What's JSON? That weird, that very weird word, JSON, right? JSON is like universal language. Let's pretend that I go to a restaurant, the same restaurant example, but this time it is a Chinese restaurant. And the chef doesn't speak English, doesn't speak Spanish, only speaks Chinese. But the waiter knows how to speak in English. So when I come and I request food to the waiter, I have to do it in English, right? And then it can be translated. So the waiter goes to the chef and delivers the order in Chinese, right? But my communication with the API is done in English because that's the language that I need in order to understand each other, right? So when you go to a foreign country or a restaurant that doesn't speak your language, usually when you use English, they can understand you, right? So that's JSON. We gotta translate whatever we do in our programming languages because they are again languages that are different. If we make it a JSON, it's like the universal language. Okay, so that's very important to know. So let's go back here. Let's go back here. And what's next is that we're going to run the API to actually see it working. So let's do pip m run start. It will load all of this, and then we can open a new tab with this link right here. You see me clicking here. It says HTTP and these numbers. When I open a new tab of it, look at this. I got this page, and it says that I got two routes, a slash and a slash members. So when I do a slash members, look, okay, it gives me all of this. Vel Villegas, Joel Frank Villegas, Arnold Villegas. It is giving me the family members. How cool is that, people? All right. When I do members, it is giving me all of this. So now you're seeing how a API works. Okay. If we check here, if we go here to the actual code, now let's remove this and let's just do members right here. All right. And if I go back and refresh, I will get the family members. I got the list with 1, 2, 3 dictionaries. Every single dictionary is one member of the family. Now, if we check the code, what's going on here? Now, we run this function. A function is a piece of code, all right? A function is a piece of code with certain instructions, right? If you give a function certain input, it will give you certain output. So right here, we are not giving the function anything. It's just like run the function and see what happens. So when I'm in a Mac, remember, so when I do command and then I click here, it will drive me here to get all members. All right. So here is what I want you guys to really, really pay attention to what's going on. On the right, we got the logic to retrieve the members, to like interact with the members of the family. On the left, we got like the door to start that interaction. That is the API. Okay. On the left, we got the waiter. On the right, we got the kitchen. Is that clear, guys? Let me know if this is clear. Yes. Okay. So if we check this, on the right, that is the kitchen, where all the logic lives. we got this function right here that says get all members. Okay, and what does the function do? It's very simple. It returns the members. So when I check here, look, it just returns whatever I created initially. So when I go to a web page and I search for members, then the logic will just go here. It will run get all members, and get all members, the only thing that it's doing is that it's returning a list of the members of the Villegas family. Very simple. So when all of this is returned, then the members variable is going to store a copy of the members of the family. So it's like if I were doing this. Okay? Then when this is done, we return the members in a JSON format. This means translated. So the front end can understand what's going on, because the front end usually is not built on Python. So you gotta send it on JSON so it understands what's going on. Lastly, we got this 200. Now, this might be weird. Why are we putting a 200 there? The reason for it is that it's something called the status code. Now, API. Now, the status code basically means something, right? So if we check here, if it's 100s, it's informational stuff. If it's 200s, it's success. So because I'm giving in a 200, I'm saying API worked as intended, and here is the response. Here is the family members, 200. If it's a redirection, it's 300. If it's an error, it's 400. If it's a server error, meaning connection failure, it's a 500. So this is something that is widely used in programming. So if I go back here and I try to summarize what happened here, so first get all family members, and then here I'm just writing a comment. Oh, I'm just writing a comment that says if all family members are fetched correctly, then respond with the list of family members and a 200. So this is everything that this endpoint is doing. All right. Now, if you are still confused on what's going on, I got a cool visual example. This example right here. Now, the first one was the kitchen, but now we're going to level up our graphical examples. We're going to level up to something that I like to call the harbor example, like a dock, harbor, port, whatever you want to call it, but it's the harbor example. Okay, and this will help you to understand even better what's going on. Right? So yeah. So before we go to the example, I just want to make a quick stop here about this get. All right. So this is what I was talking about when I was talking about the HB methods. So these are the main methods. Basically, this is what you can do with information in the backend. You can read information, you can create information, you can update information, and you can delete information. That's everything you can do in a database. You can read, you can create, update, or delete. Now, every single of these actions have like a method name. Now, if you want to read from the database, that means that you want to fetch, that you want to retrieve something, then you use a get. All right. And if we come here, it says that the method that we use for these members endpoint is a get. Now, if we use a post, that's a different story. If we use a delete, that's a different story. But because we are just reading out of the database, that means that we just want to fetch data, we use a get. Okay? Before jumping to this example of the harbor, is it clear, guys? Perfect. Nice. Okay. So let's look at this example. Now let's pretend, guys, that there is a city, right? And the city needs to communicate with the harbor. Now the city is our front end, and the harbor is our back end server. Now the way the city communicates with the harbor is by sending a boat, right? So the harbor is overseas; it's far away from the city. So what it says is that the city sends the boat with a request to the harbor. So if the boat comes here to this port, to this dock that says members, this is the port that the boat is going to, then the request is to get, right? So the boat captain will talk to the worker of the harbor. That's the API. This is what we're building. This guy right here. So the boat's captain will talk to the worker and will say, "Hey, I come from the city with a request of you. Please go to the warehouse and give me a copy of whatever you have in the warehouse." All right. So that's the instruction from the boat's captain to the worker. So the worker will come here to the warehouse and it will get a copy of all of this information and it will retrieve it to the boat. So the worker will come back, it will give the information to the boat, and now the boat can go back to the city and say, "Okay, city, you sent me to fetch for what are the members of the family. Here is your response." So I hope that this example helps you guys to understand what's going on behind the scenes. It's a very simple and a little bit ugly example, but I think it helps to um, understand what's going on better. Don't worry, we'll have the same examples for every single endpoint that we're going to build. So good. Now let's go back here and the get all members, it's now done. All right. Now you might be asking, hey Camilo, we installed the Thunder client, but we haven't used it yet. Now it's the time to use it. How do we use it? Because when I go to the web page and I go to members, I get the information. That's right. But what happens if I want to do a delete or a post or a put? We need something more powerful. So that's why we're going to use this Thunder client. So when I click on new request, you will see that I will have this information right here. Okay, I will have like an URL and I will have here the possible HTTP methods. So we want to get, right? We want to get, and we want to get from a certain URL. Now, what's that URL? It's the one that we opened before, this one. So let's grab that link and let's paste it right here. But I'm missing something, guys. What am I missing if I want to fetch all the members of the family? Any ideas? I have to write something additional here on the members. Correct, Jay. Perfect. I was missing members. All right. Now let's try. If I request a get to this var URL, look, I'm gonna get a weird behavior right here. It's not gonna give me anything special. But if I do members and I click on here, look at this. It's gonna give me the correct response, right? And the reason for it is this because I got a members route mapped. Now, if I change this for family members, then when I click here, is it going to work? Yes or no?
No.
No, it's not going to work. Why? What do I have to change in order for it to work?
You're gonna say family. What was it? Family members. Family.
Yeah, family members.
Yeah.
Okay, so I gotta change it, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's do the test. If I click here, look, 404. Remember the status codes? 4, it's a client error, so it's an error. But if I do this and I click here, it's now working. Nice, right? So let's go. Yeah, so I think this one is well understood. So let's switch back to members and members here. That's perfect. Okay,
So,
guys, I
so
think
when
you're
you
getting
put
the idea.
family member, when you just put that in, it just brought up the one member, or did it bring
Oh,
up all three?
oh yeah, yeah. No, it is giving me all three.
It's giving, okay.
Yes. Now we are going to. Okay, let's change this. Also. You don't have to do this, but it's just like convention, so we don't get confused. Okay, so we got an endpoint. So if we check the instructions, the endpoints that means like the ports of our hardware that we're building. The first one is get all family members. Then the next one is retrieve just one family member, just one. All right. And look at this. It is asking us to do this kind of endpoint right here. Member, and then this thing, int member ID. Right. So how can we do this? If we go back here, you saw that I just copy and pasted. So we got this endpoint and this endpoint right here. So let's grab this. Let's grab this endpoint signature and let's paste it here. No, now we're gonna have this. Perfect. And also the method is going to be get. Now, we will have to make a different set of logic. Now, getting all the members was easy stuff, all right? But now we want to make it a little bit more interesting. So how are we going to do this? First, the function is not going to be called get members anymore. It's going to get called get member because it's just one. Second, this definition, this function is gonna receive an like yes, it's gonna receive a parameter called member ID. All right. So what is this member ID? If we check here, if oh man, I totally forgot something, and it's that all of these members need to have an ID. Look, I forgot to set all of you guys with an ID. Sorry. So the ID is going to be generated randomly. Now, if we check this class, we got this function right here called generate ID. So you don't have really to think about this deeply. Just write the following. That means that every time we, yeah, that for every family member here, we're gonna have a different ID. Now, if that's confusing, let's just hit this. Oh, yeah, sometimes when you do hard changes, the API crashes, but don't worry, you just run it again with pip run start, and then it goes back online. Okay, so let's close this. Let's click here and send, and look at this stuff. With ID, now every single member of the family has a random number assigned to it. This is important because this is the only way, well, not the only, but this is the best way uh, to really know what's an identification for each family member. Okay, now if I go back here, that will be our member ID. Okay, so I know it looks confusing, but it will make a lot of sense later on. All right,
So how did you
so
get the
yeah,
member IDs? How did you get the individual member IDs
yeah. So when
assigned?
I no worries, please. So when I click here on members, you see that every single family member has an age, has lucky numbers, oh, lucky numbers, last name, first name, and ID. Now, ID is when I call this definition right here. Now, this definition right here, the only thing that it does is that it will select a random number between 0 and this amount of nines. So it's a random number between like 0 and 1 million, something like that. So when we do that, every single time we create the list, ID will be a random number between 0 and 1 million.
Okay, thank you.
For sure. Hello, Grace. How are you? Welcome to the workshop. Now we are 2, 4, 6. Woohoo! We are incrementing. Okay, so let's continue. Perfect. Okay, so we're gonna get 1. Now this function, it's different. This function will be different. So instead of get all family members, is get 1 family member based on ID, right? Well, not an ID, a member ID. So this function doesn't work for us anymore because this will retrieve us all the family members, which is 1. So let's do get member. Look, there is one that's called like that. So here, guys, let's do the connection. Look at this here on the right. It says get member, and here it says get member, right? That means member. So that means that here on the right is the logic that is going to be triggered right here on the left. Okay, so let's go back to the waiter and the kitchen example. Here, the waiter is going to ask for spaghetti, right? Get member is spaghetti. Now, on the right, this definition called get member that is spaghetti, for the chef, it's not just spaghetti, right? For the chef, it's pasta, is sauce, is garlic, is meat. It's a lot of ingredients. So on the right, we're going to write what is the step by step in order to cook that spaghetti. And on the left, we're just asking for it. Okay? Is this clear, guys? I know it's a little bit confusing, but is this clear? Okay, perfect. Okay, so there's another very interesting thing here. If I check on the right, the get member definition, that means the spaghetti, needs an ID, right? If I don't send the ID, it can't work, right? The best way to understand why does it say ID here is just writing the logic. All right. So guys, if you I mean, how would you do it? If you have some senses, some knowledge in programming, how would you pick one of these members based on the ID? What piece of code would you write here? Any
Can you
ideas?
copy the first copy from, who is that? The first one?
The first one. All right. But what happens if the ID of the first one is not the same ID that I'm requesting?
Uh,
I gotta be more
it's,
I gotta be more specific. Like
it's,
what will be some kind of logic?
um, but you said that member ID is system generated, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But let's pretend that I know, right? Return self-members ID. Yeah, you are close, Jay. You are close. But not really, because members is a list. It's not a dictionary. But I think you're close. Okay, guys, how many of you have heard about the for loop in programming?
Oh yeah, yeah.
What is the for loop for?
Mm, to repeat the process, isn't it?
I think you are right. Okay, so the for loop, we use the for loop to traverse, right? When we want to repeat things. Okay, so why are we doing the for loop here? You might ask. I need to leave. Thank you very much. Okay, yeah. Take care, Joe Frank. Thank you for your time too. Bye. Okay, so why are we going to use a for loop here? Because we are not certain of which member is it, right? Based on the ID. So we have to go through every single one until we find the one. So let's pretend that I'm just going to make a quick edit here. 1, 2, and 3. All right. Here. Okay, so Vel Villegas is 1. Joel Frank Villegas. Oh no, but Joel Frank left. I'm gonna change him. I'm sorry. Jay, what's your age? Oh no, 39. Okay. And what are your lucky numbers? 5, 7, and 11. Okay, 11 and 11. Okay, seems that 11 is a magical number. Perfect. So let's pretend that Vel is its ID is 1, J is 2, and Arnold is 3, right? So what I will okay, and also let's pretend that I want to search for the family member which ID is 3. That means that which family member I will pick if I want the ID 3.
Arnold, right?
Arnold. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you, Val. So the way we're going to build this is that we are going to go with the first one and ask, is the ID 1 equals to 3? No. So it's not Val. Now, second one, is the ID 2 equals to 3? No. So it's not J. Third one, is the ID 3 equals to 3? Yes. So that means Arnold is the one I'm searching for. So let's go down here and let's write that logic. Okay, so for member in self.members. Okay, so what's happening here? Member. No. Member. Basically, member, its value will be all the members in the list. Of course, for each iteration. So if we ask here, if member.id, oh, wait. And I'll explain what's happening here in just a couple of seconds. So if we manage to find the member that has the same ID as the one I'm requesting, then return that member. Okay? So let's do a quick here and let's write some comments and then I'll explain what happened. Get one a family member based member ID and here return the selected member based on ID to the front end. Perfect. Okay, guys. So let's not use the generate ID function. Let's just use 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, whatever. So I think it's easier to understand. So what's going on here? When I click, sorry, I will create a new request and I will test it first, and then I will go a little bit more in depth with the explanation. Okay. So this is a get. Perfect. So let's look at the endpoint. It says member, and then it needs an ID. It needs a number. So what I will do with this number is that I will go to the get member function. Oh, sorry. Oh my God, I closed it. I thought I was closing the file. My bad, guys, but it will open super fast. Don't worry. Yeah. Okay. Done. So sorry guys for that. Going back here, when I do get member, I send the ID that I requested. So inside the logic, what I will do is that I will traverse all the members and I will try to find the member that has the same ID that I'm requesting. And if I find it, I will return it. Okay? So let's create the new request. It got closed, sorry. And let's grab this, let's paste it here. And this is where everything sticks together. So when I send 1 here, that means that I want the member that has ID 1. So when I click here on send, nothing happened because the API is not running. So let me run the API. And this one. Look at this. Vel Villegas, right? ID 1, it's exactly what I'm asking for here. If I do 3, I will get Arnold. If I do 2, I will get J. If I do 4, null. There's no member with that ID. If I do 1, I get Vel. All right. Now, if we check here, the member ID is whatever I sent here, right? So if I do this weird number, that will be my member ID. This is the one that I'm searching for. Well, let's pretend that I just want number 1. Then I do get member, and the get member function goes member by member, and it will ask if its value, if its ID value is equals of whatever I'm asking for, of whatever ID I'm asking for. And if it's true, then I will return that member. Simple as. Guys, is this clear? Oh no, silence. Not clear? Okay, let's. Yes, Grace. Perfect. Perfect. I'm just editing something here. Sorry, guys. Nice. Okay, so going back to this example, we see that it's the same thing. The city is asking, go find the member with ID 123. So the request goes now to this port, not to the members one. No, it's go to the member singular, and then the boat's captain is going to tell the worker, hey, I'm searching for the family member that has ID 123. The worker will go to the warehouse, that means the database. It will search and look at this. It will find this one because the ID is 123. All right. So now the boat has a copy of the family member with said ID, and then it will return it to the city. Okay. So let's go back here. Boom, boom, boom. And fine. Perfect. Okay. Now let's read the instructions. Where is it? It's loading. Okay. So get a family members is checked. Retrieve one member is checked. And now here comes the fun part. Add post. Now, for those who are not in the family yet, don't worry, guys. This is the moment where you're going to join the family. So add post a new member. So that means that we're going to create a new endpoint. So let's grab all of this and let's paste it here. Now, let's see what they are asking for. Member. Okay. So our endpoint will be member. That's it. Now, what's the difference? The method is not get anymore, it's post. Now, when we go back to the slides and we see post, post is used to create. This means that now we're going to add a new family member to the list. So let's go back here and let's change it. Oops. To post. So it's no get anymore, it's post. We are not receiving any member ID. So let's remove this. And we are just putting here post member. All right, perfect. Now, what is the function that we're going to use for this case? Now, get member is done. Get all members is done too. Now we're left with add member and delete member. So this is the one that we want to use today. Okay, the add member one. So get member is no longer used. We're going to use get member instead. All right. So what are we going to do here is that I believe this is the funniest endpoint. So pay attention to this one because now we can set information to our backend. Okay, so the API will get a request and then it will get stored. It's like the boat example. Now the boat is not just going to request things to the harbor, it's going to send stuff. The city is going to send stuff with the help of the boat. And then the boat will have that request stored in the warehouse. That's what we're going to do now. So this endpoint right here, the first thing that we got to do is that we got to get the request and transform it. So how do we do that? Is that we use data request dot what is it? Okay, get JSON. Yes, I almost forgot. Get JSON function like this. Okay, so what does this means is that basically convert into JSON, convert to JSON. Oh, no. Convert into dict. The dictionary the JSON payload or payload request. Okay, so I know it looks weird, but it will make a lot of sense very, very soon. Okay, so once this is done, the data, then we want to send the data to this add member function. If we check here, okay, if we check here, the add member expects we to send something. So I'm sending that information right on. Okay, now if I, for the add member, it's very simple. We just have to append. So when I do this members, I do append and then member, then oops, member, then what this means is that basically whatever I send to the API, it's going to be stored in our list, in our members list right here. Okay, so once that is done, let's see what I have to return. I have to return 200 if success, body empty, but I won't leave the body empty. I will just write something like family member added successfully. Perfect. Okay. Here is just basically oops, get the new family member data and store it in the family list. Perfect. Okay, so let's read these endpoints step by step. First thing, it gets a request, it converts it into a dictionary, then it sends that information into this function called add member. Add member gets that information and appends it into the list. Now it will have a new family member right here. Okay, now how does this looks? How does this works? Let's do that because I like to get an example running so you guys can understand better. Okay, so this is the endpoint. It's member. The difference is now we are not using get anymore. We're using post. All right, and we have to send something here. Okay, so let's see if we want to have a new member. I'm going to send all of this information. Right? So the ID, because I already, okay, let's remove this. Because I already have okay, yeah, because I already have 1, 2, 3, then our ID will be 4. Okay. Now this is not how things should be in real world. The ID gets automatically generated, but this is just for learning purposes. So we're going to create a new family member with an ID of 4. Now it's the time of Arnold J. Bell. Jesus. Jesus, you are next. What's your age, Jesus? You can lie if you want. Don't worry. Oh no, Jesus is not there. All right, so in the Bible, I believe Jesus died at age, sorry, 32. Close to Jesus starting public age. So, are you the real Jesus? Maybe. What's the lucky numbers for you, Jesus? Wow. 24, 16, and 03? That's very original. So, okay, I like those. So, what's going on here, guys? What's going on here? I'm going to request to this endpoint right here with a post to create a new family member based in this information right here. So, when I click on send, it is refused because the app crashed. But, oh, sorry, but I just made it run again. So I'll click again, sorry. Okay, now it's giving us an error. Look at this. Failed to decode a JSON object expecting delimiter. All right, so we got a little bug right here. Let's see what we can do about it. So it says request, get JSON is not correct. So what can be happening here? What do you think, guys? Oh, I think it's not get JSON, it's just JSON. I think it's just like this, but I'm not sure. Let's try it. I might be wrong, but that's the fun thing about coding, as I said. It's a lot of debugging. So let's see. I think this one, no, it's not JSON either. Maybe I am not importing request. Oh, yes, I am. So what can be wrong? So we got a route that is member, we got post, we got the function, we got data, that is the request, but I might be doing something wrong. Oh, I think it's because JSON is not a function. It's just JSON. That's it. Yeah, I think this is our mistake. Well, my mistake. No, bad request. Okay, it's not there yet. Add member, Jackson family has the add member function. We send the data, it appends. And then we got this. It says that the error is on line. What's the error on line? Oops. Column line 5. Okay, guys, I'm doing something wrong here, but I'm not sure what. Let me run this again. 400. I'm doing something wrong. Maybe you guys see something that I'm not seeing. What am I doing wrong? Maybe because I'm not responding with JSONify. Maybe it's that, but I'm not sure. I don't think this is, but this should be like in a dictionary like this, message like this. That's no. Decoded JSON. I think I'm. Oh yes. No. I think this was our error. We were sending a non-JSON response. Oh no, that's not our error. Guys, I need help. I need help. Do you see anything wrong here? Because I don't see it. What am I doing wrong? Let's have a moment to think. Yes, let's think. What am I doing wrong here? Data request. I send it. I JSONify this message, and I respond with 200. What could it be? What could it be? I'm returning. That's fine. I don't see it, guys. Do you guys see it? Am I doing something wrong here? Member, buddy.
The family member was added successfully.
Here.
Yeah, let's see. Family member added successfully. Okay, so he's on the list. You were adding Jesus, right? You added
Yeah.
Jesus, yeah. Let's see. To post.
What could it be doing wrong? Because no, I think the code is good.
Request.
Member post.
That's the way the data equals the request. Jason.
Self member append. This is what we're doing. Oh no. Okay, let's try to give this a little bit of brains for 5 minutes. If not, we can move to the delete one. Maybe we can get a clearer mind of what's going on here. Member post. Expecting limiter line 5. Failed to decode a JSON object. Failed to decode a JSON object. I think it's because of this, but I'm not sure. What could be wrong? Let's see. Let's try to print data. Maybe it is being converted fine, but I'm doing something wrong then. It's not even going through. It's like here. It's dying right here. Requests, import Flask. Wait, is it for all? Just no, it's just for this one. What if I remove this? No, it's not the ID. First name Jesus, age, lucky numbers. Oh man, I don't see it. But if it's not working, it's because I got something wrong for sure. Request.json. Yeah, okay, let's do something. Let's run again the commands. Maybe because I closed the page, it's not giving me the proper functions that I need. But I don't think it's that. But still, let's try it. We don't lose anything. Reactivate it. 400. No, I'm definitely doing something wrong. But this is not. If I move this and I do request and I hit it, I get a request from the front end. Needs an ID. I'm not certain of that because okay, look, add members. Do you think? Okay, let's try to do that. Let's oh wait, maybe because I was not returning, but I don't think that's the reason why. Let's try J's code. I mean, I knew that I had to create. I knew that I had to add an ID. I just wanted to fall into that error to add that, but I wasn't expecting this not to work. So let's run this again. Maybe we can have it now. No, I don't think it's about the ID. Member. Oh my God, what do I have here? Okay, guys, let's not waste more time about this one. We can keep checking it later. Let's move on to delete. But this surprises me because I don't think I'm doing anything weird here. It's just request.json. It's like request is not being read properly, but I'm not sure. Add member. Okay, I don't think this will make anything, but it's just my member data. Yeah. Okay, no. Let's move to delete. We can think about this later on. Let's see. Let's try. Okay, no problem. Okay, guys. So, what will happen is that the new family member is going to be added to the list. All right, that was going to happen. But let's take a look on this one later. Let's just move on to delete, and no worries. We can check with a better mind what happened. All right. So delete. Delete is very similar, in fact, to this one, not to the post. So let's remove this. Okay, now this is delete. Okay, why? Because when we coded our get get a family member, we were basing ourselves in a member ID, right? But now we want to delete a member based, of course, on an ID. So we're going to use the same, well, almost the same logic regarding the usage of an ID in order to do something. So here, let's start by changing the name of this one, delete member. And also, oh wait, okay, perfect. It is giving me an error. Did I delete the add member stuff? I think I did by mistake. Yes. Oh, wait. Was because of this that it was not working? No, sorry. Yeah, sorry. I was, I was confused. But yeah, let's go back here. Now we know that we're going to use almost the same logic that we had for getting just one family member, but now we're going to delete a family member. All right. So here, family, sorry, Jackson family. Instead of get member, we're going to have a remove, no, delete member. And delete member bases its logic on a member ID. So here, basically what it's going to do is going to delete a member of the family based on a member ID. Perfect. Okay, so let's remove this and let's go back here to delete members. All right, so if get member used a for loop to search, right, for the desired member that we needed, now we want to make a logic that is almost similar. All right, we want to make something that is almost similar but not exactly. Of course we are going to like for loop, but we also want to make it with a different logic, right? And we're going to use a very cool function in Python called enumerate. So let's do exactly the same. So when I do for member in self members, this means that what I'm doing here is that I'm going member by member, right, in the list. Now, we want to make almost the same thing as this. Okay, so let's put this. If member ID based on ID, then we have to delete the member out of the list. All right. So how do we do this? Right? Delete self dot members. But then how can I know which member to delete? Right? So here we enter in a certain discussion. Like there are many ways to delete uh, an item in a list, right? I like to have this example right here because it's the most beginner friendly one, because it's simpler to understand. Now, I think we can understand this logic, sorry, this logic right here. First, let's go through every single member in the list. And then second, if I match the ID that I'm requesting with the ID of one of the family members, then do something. In this particular case, let's delete that member that I found. So how can we do this? Self members, but then how do I know which one to delete? Well, we're going to use this called enumerate. Now, enumerate is a function in Python that basically gives you an index. So it so now you use it like this. So before we were moving member by member, all right? But now what we're doing is that, of course, we're moving member by member, but also we are getting an index out of it. So the index is a position. When I say index, you think about position, all right? And the last thing that I have to do here is this. So what does this means is that when I go through the list of family members, all right, this index will start to increment. Now, guys, what is the initial number for indexes? Maybe some of you know this answer, but I wanted to ask it. 0, correct. So when you start to count, you start from 1, right? That's a normal thing to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But in programming, it's quite different. We start from 0. So if I ask you, how many family members are in this list? The answer is 3, right? 1, 2, 3. That's fine. Perfect. 1, 2, 3. Nice. But when I ask you for the positions, for the indexes, of those family members, it's quite different. Because for this first item in the list, its position is not 1, it's 0. All right, so let me write here index equals to 0. For the second item, it's not 2, it's 1. And for the third item, it's not 3, it's 2. So if I do this, guys, please answer me this question. If I do self members at 1, then which one am I going to retrieve? Which family member? Me. I like that answer. Me. Yes, you.
the
Yeah.
second.
Yeah. It's going to it's going to retrieve J, right? Because index 0 is for val, but index 1 is for J. Now, I think you get the idea. When I do 2, it's going to get Arnold, and when I do 0, it's going to get val. All right? So, for this delete member on the first iteration, member is going to be val. That's right. And its index is going to be 0. Okay, so why is this important? Because when we find our required member of the family, we're going to delete it. Del for delete, and then delete the member in some index. All right. So we just saw this. If it's 0, it's then we're going to delete val. But if it's 1, J. If it's 2, Arnold. So let's remove this. I think we already got the logic. Let's read the instructions of what they want us to here. They want us to body done true. This is what they want us to respond with once it is done. So let's do it. Body return true. I think this one must be like this. Oops. Yeah, I think this one must be like this. But body, I think we can remove this one. We don't really need it. Just like this. And we need this also. Done. True. Okay. So look at this logic right here. Delete a member of the family based on an ID, then return. So return true if everything went good. Okay. So let's do a request in our Thunder client to see if this is working. Let's do delete here. Let's grab this. Let's put it here. And then we want to delete a certain family member. Let's delete Arnold. Sorry, Arnold, but you gotta go. So because I do 3, that means that, yeah, oh, my bad. But when I write 3 here, that means that I want to delete the member with ID 3. And what's the ID 3? That's Arnold. Okay? So when I click here, I don't have my, oh, sorry. I think I just copy and pasted this. So this needs to change. Delete member. Perfect. I run it and it should be fine. Nice. Okay. So when I do delete to a member with ID 3, it's going to delete Arnold. Let's see if it works. It says done true. All right. So how can we see if this worked? We can fetch for all the members. So let's search for all members, this request right here. When I request this, look at this. I only have Vel and I only have J. Arnold is nowhere to be found. Sorry, Arnold. My bad. I had to delete you, man. Sorry. So let's do J, right? If I delete it, if I delete here, this is a get, this is a delete. If I do 2, that's the ID of J, and I click it, it says done. That means that now it is deleted, and I can check by fetching everything. Now the last family member is Vel. All right. So that's what we are doing right here. And if we check the example, it's very simple. Now we are trying to delete the member with the ID 321. So the city asks that to the boat. The boat goes to the port. The boat's captain talks to the worker and says, "Hey, I want you to delete from the warehouse whatever family member you got with ID 321." Right. So here let's pretend this one. So I will remove this, and then the worker will go to the boat and will say, "Hey, it has been removed, it's finished." And then the boat will go back to the city, and oh no, yeah, it will go back to the city and say, "Hey, it is deleted, it has been done." All right, so that's delete. Now I think we have like less than 10 minutes, but let's try to fix the post thing, the post thingy that is not working for us. Let's try to go super in depth on what's going on. So we got a member endpoint, we got post right here, we got request from here, at member request.json. So we are storing this stuff, these request thing into data. Now we call add member, we send the data. I think something is wrong with this one. And then JSONify this stuff, message, family, blah, blah, blah. So let's try it again. Let's try if this post will work for us this time. No. Okay. So guys, I need to tell you something. And it's that I am not seeing the error right here. So I think we have to ask ChatGPT. and the reason why I do this is because I don't want people to feel ashamed of using AI tools. I use it in my everyday job. And I also pay for ChatGPT 4. It's super productive. I don't see the error here. Maybe ChatGPT can help us. All right. And also, this is something that you gotta start implementing in your daily life. If you are not using AI tools, I hope you start using it soon, because programming world is being shaped by AI. And I know there's a lot of fear among people saying that programmers will be obsolete, but that will happen if you don't start to use the tools that the world are offering us. Okay, so let's grab this piece of code and let's paste it here. I've got the following piece of code, so let's paste it, and I'm getting this error. And let's go back here. The error is, what is it? Failed to decode. Char. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Please fix. Let's see if ChatGPT tells us something. Okay, the error messaging quantity suggests a with JSON data you're trying to decode online. Okay. Maybe it's because the data we are sending, it's not fully JSON. But I am not sure. Is it because of this? Yes, I think it was because of that, of this. But then you had to decode it. Okay, but it's not a dictionary anymore. Okay. It's like not decoding it in the best way possible. It's making it a string, and it should not be like that. Let's see if we missed something in the instructions. But seems that our code is fine. Yeah, I was wondering why it didn't work, but the code it's fine. It's something what we're sending that is not allowed. Let's see if the lucky numbers application JSON, maybe headers out body. Okay, it's not working. Not super as intended, but first name, age, lucky numbers, content type, application JSON, request body, content type. Maybe because we have to make this. like this, because we have to enforce the type of what we're sending. No. Content type, content type, content type, content type. For request. No. Content type, it's application JSON, right? Let me grab this. Content type, application JSON for a Postman request header. This is not Postman, but I think it's the same stuff. I just wanted to see how they. Oh, okay, it's written differently. Look. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I was getting this right. Content type. Look, application JSON. Application JSON. That's it. I don't think this will work, but maybe. Okay. Yeah. I think it takes it by default. Yeah, that was the error all along. It was the 0. There is no number at 0.3. Maybe 0.3 or something. But 0.3 is not a number. It's like, what? So it was having trouble converting. But look at this. It's not working. It doesn't. I mean, these are the kind of bugs that really break your mind. But finally we found a reason why. Yeah. I know. Yeah, this is the kind of stuff that I mean, Jesus, I see what you did there, man. You made us do this so you learn more. I see it. Okay, that's fine. It's a good way to learn. Debugging. Okay, fine. So now Jesus is on the family. Now we check the family here. We got Jesus. All right. Now, sorry to rush this, but we are almost out of time. But Jay was right with something. Is that we are not adding the ID, right? We're just appending it. What should be done here is that we should add an ID. Sorry, but okay, perfect. I have a mechanical keyboard, and it by mistake I turned off the backlight, so I didn't see the keys correctly. But now I do. So we're missing to generate an ID for it. So let's generate one. Also, because we are supposed to be a family with the same last name, like we need a last name that is similar to all of us. So we have to do last name here, and then we can append. Because we are just sending a piece of information, the first name, the age, and the lucky numbers, but we are not having any ID or any last name. All right. So I will rerun the API just once again, so we can test everything all together. So let's click here. First, starting family members. It's Vel, Jay, and Arnold. All right. Now I want to get just one of them. Let's see. ID with 3. That means that I'm going to get Arnold. Let's see if it works. Yeah, I'm getting Arnold. Let's see if it works if I want to have Bell. It's the ID 1. This is Bell. Sweet. Perfect. Now let's create members. Now we got Jesus. If we click here, boom, it's now created. And if we click here, you can see that Jesus is now part of the family. And look at this. ID and last name have been added, right? But it was not because I added them here. It's because the logic inserted them, injected that information. So if we check here an ID and it's a random number between 0 and 1 million, and last name is Villegas, because that's the last name this family has. So now let's create the rest. I think I'm missing Grace. Grace, what age are you? If not, oh, 29. Nice. Lucky numbers. Perfect. 16 and 19. Wow, guys, you have so interesting lucky numbers. And last but not least, it's me, Camilo. I'm 25. Yes. Lucky numbers. I like 121. I like 1. And I like 7, the magical number. And also, I always had a fashion for this number, 1337. So let's do this. A family member added, and boom, all the family is now complete. We got me, we got Grace, we got Jesus, well, Jesus, we got Arnold, we got Jay, and we got Vale. Every single member in the family. Oh no, we're gonna have an intruder. Let's create an intruder. Something like not a Villegas. It's a weird number. And lucky numbers, it's a zero for some reason. All right. So when we get all of this, oh my God, look, this is not part of our family. Let's delete it. So we need the ID. Let's get the ID that was randomly generated and let's delete it. So let's search for the delete one. Here, delete. Let's put the ID that I want to delete and let's click on send. Boom, done. So when I click here, boom, it disappeared. So guys, this is our full working API now. We can get the members, we can get just one member, we can create members, and we can delete members. I'm really sorry for the inconvenience here, but it was not due to the code, it was due to the request. My bad not for spotting it sooner. So guys, how do you feel? This is the end of the workshop. Are you there? How many of you are sleeping? Don't sleep. Hey, hey.
No, where is that at?
Yay. Perfect. Perfect.
Uh,
Yes, Val.
uh, okay, so this is a taste, I take it, of Python. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah, but more than Python, this is a taste of APIs, of Flask. Programming in Python, it's very fun and very simple. Um, but this was more, as I said at the beginning, the main goal of this workshop was you guys to really understand the kitchen example and to really understand the hardware example. If you understand what's the work of an API, like what is an API doing, why do we create them, why is it important, that's all. That's the most important stuff. Now the code is something that comes secondary.
Okay, so and the Flask, I want to be clear on that. The Flask on in all of this we were doing, you were doing.
Yes, yes, that's. I mean, we were writing Python. This is Python code, but most of the functionalities are handled by Flask, right? We just have to add some logic to it. All of what you're seeing right here in my screen is Python code, right? But this little small thing, app route member, blah, 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 it's what Flask is providing us. I mean, the power to really request, create, delete, and all of that, it's powered by Flask, but it's handled by Python. It's powered by Flask, but in order to make it work, you need to write Python.
Okay, thank you.
Sure, sure. Okay, guys, so recap super quick. Python is a very solid and popular programming language, so please take a look at it. Even if you're not super interested in programming, it's worth knowing a little bit about this programming language. Sometimes less is better. There are many solutions for creating APIs. You got Django, you got Fast API, you got Flask, for example. Flask is very easy to learn. It is lightweight. You can make a lot of progress with few lines of code, as you can see. So Flask is a very good way to start coding APIs with Python. Also here, as I have already said it, API is like a waiter. You already know this. And last but not least, communication between front end and back end is made with and thanks to JSON. So always keep that in mind. Last but not least, coding is not super easy. As you saw, sometimes we get stuck, but the important stuff is that we keep pushing, that we keep learning, and it can be mastered, all right? If you are interested in learning more, if you're interested in starting your work in your life and your profession in the tech world, you can join us at 4Geeks. In fact, because we are too few people here, I will give you a very important news is that I will be a mentor again. I was a mentor for Miami cohort 52, and I will be a mentor again starting next year. So if you are planning to enroll for Geeks, I can be your teacher. So please take that in mind. That's it, guys. Do you have any final words to share with the people here? Okay. So thank you all for assisting. Thank you for your time. Sorry for the extra 6 minutes. Thank you, Grace. Thank you. You're welcome. These will be uploaded to YouTube. I think will be delivered to your mail, so you guys can rewatch it if you want to code along. And that's it, guys. I hope to see you in a future workshop or in class, if you will. So have a great night or whatever time is it in your country, and take care. Bye, everyone.